The scene begins with Olav performing baptism in the church. After the baptism, one of the audience members waits for everyone to leave. Following that, the man fills a bottle with baptized water and rushes towards a lady. He claims that it is the holiest water, sanctified by the church's founder himself. On the other hand, Ulfhildr is listening to Professor Robert's lecture, who is the same CCTV guy. In the video, Professor Robert presents a time travel paradox that evolved into a quasi-philosophical rant. But one of his female students disagrees with him. A short time later, Lars picks her up and they travel to the island, where the transit center leader, Roald, informs them about Emma and the other 3 girls. According to Roald, the girls were picked up by the rescue boat from the transit center in Sun. He also claims that all evidence points to the girls being English. Lars inquires as to why they were not extradited to England, to which Roald responds that one of them spoke Norwegian and appeared to have a connection to Norway. However, the girls escaped from custody, and despite this, the police were not reported because the police only prioritize escape cases where the escapee poses a threat to the general public. Lars informs him that 2 of the 3 girls have already been murdered, and that he fears the 3rd will be as well. Lars asks if he knows anything about the murder, to which Roald reveals that a genealogist from an English university once called to inquire about the women. Elsewhere, Robert visits a boarding school in search of a girl named Nessie Olsen. Nessie is revealed to be the same girl from the opening scene, as well as the 3rd girl from the previous file. Upon entering Nessie's room, Robert notices that she is more calm than the other 2 girls. Nessie threatens Robert to defeat him with the spiritual power of Jesus Christ, but he seems to be unaffected. She then summons the same guy who stole the baptized water, who performs the ritual and sprinkles the water on Robert, killing him. When Robert collapses, the guy and Nessie appear to be overjoyed until they realize Robert was just messing with them. Following this, Robert orders Nessie to accompany him, but she grabs a gun and fires at him. Unfortunately, Robert manages to dodge the bullet, resulting in the bullet penetrating the man's forehead. Robert then drags her along with him. Meanwhile, Henry and Clark arrive at Oslo to reevaluate the case in light of the new murders. Henry isn't ready to rule out Ben as a suspect because he believes Ben and Roberts are accomplices. Lars and Ulfhildr are dissatisfied because they believe Henry is lying. Lars suspects Alex for leaking their information to the London police. Ulfhildr wonders why London would obstruct a murder investigation. Lars suspects that the London police have sent Robert back in time, and they are now afraid that their secret will be revealed. Furthermore, he says that he needs the temprixate drops to find evidence for the same. On the other hand, Mad returns to Olav's house, where Olav is consuming cocaine. When asked, he starts fighting with her for no apparent reason, and soon decides to break up with her. Hearing this, she inquires about Volva's vision of them being together, to which he responds that it was a misunderstanding. Nad then returns home and expresses her breakup with her friends. Later that night, under Ulfhildr's supervision, Lars buys a bottle of temprixate and tells her to make sure he doesn't fall off the wagon. Following that, he uses the drops to get high, leading her to a basement where he attempts to extract data from a computer. The next morning, Lars regains consciousness and discovers that he has extracted an English plan to send agents back to the 19th century. However, they decide to keep it a secret for the time being and go to work. Upon reaching the headquarters, they learn about the boarding school murder, and they, along with Wench, proceed to the crime scene. During the course of the investigation, all of the officers receive a message from Jack the Ripper. When they open the message, they hear Nessie's scream, indicating that the murder will take place tonight. In the following scene, Gregers is released from the hospital and Ingrid drives him home. On their way, Ingrid inquires of Gregers' thoughts on her pregnancy. Greger responds that he will stand by Ingrid regardless of her decision, making her emotional. At the police headquarters, all of the officers, including those from London, set up a tracking device and wait for the call from Jack the Ripper. After a few hours of waiting, they receive a call, but they are unable to track it. In the call, the murderer shares his decision to trade Nessie for Henry. The chief tries to convince him not to trade humans, but Jack dismisses her and invites Henry to the Gromland tube station the next day at noon. After work, Lars goes to Gerger's house, where Ingrid shares her decision to keep the baby. Hearing this, Marie is enraged by this, but Ingrid refuses to change her mind. Elsewhere, Olav goes to church, where an elderly woman invites him to talk. But first he enters the restroom and consumes the cocaine again. When he comes out, his man informs him that the police have discovered a bag of their cocaine at the vicarage. Olav then suspects Matt of leaking the information to the police and storms out. Following this, he visits Volva, who assures him that he will reclaim the throne. She also believes the time has come to visit Ulfhildr. The next day at police station, Henry prepares to meet the murderer, and both Oslo and London police decide to collaborate on this mission. Henry then proceeds to Grönland where a number of police officers have already taken their positions. A few moments later, Henry receives a phone call, prompting him to walk down the subway tunnel. When Lars and Ulfhildr notice this, they follow Henry to the tunnel. Inside the tunnel, Henry encounters Robert, who appears to be none other than Jack the Ripper. Henry learns that he has murdered Nessie and inquires as to why. Robert claims that those girls could have revealed his secret about P19. He also tells Henry that he will be gone forever if he is placed in a manor house with jolly girls and a generous wine cellar. Following this, Henry inquires as to why he murdered the women in Whitechapel, to which he responds that he required guinea pigs to test his imprisoned time travel device. Here, we learn that Henry and Robert were friends before Robert became Jack the Ripper. After hearing everything, Henry points his gun at him and demands that he surrender. On the other hand, Olav and Volva are on their way to Ulfhildr when they meet a terrible accident. Before dying, Volva tells him to forget this world because they will be reborn in the next world as a king and a queen. Meanwhile, when Lars and Ulfhildr hear a gunshot, they split up and go in search of Henry. Shortly, Lars discovers Henry's dead body in the subway track while Ulfhildr notices Robert walking away. Ulfhildr instructs him to surrender, but he refuses. As a result, she shoots at him several times, but he is able to dodge all of the bullets. Robert then fires a bullet at her, but to his surprise, she, too, is able to dodge the bullet. He addresses her as a fellow two-way traveler, but Ulfhildr moves closer to apprehend him. As she is about to attack him, a bright light with a huge storm emerges from the tunnel, knocking Lars out. Elsewhere, Alex pretends to be sick and takes a sick leave from work. Following that, he proceeds to a secret tunnel where lab workers are conducting various experiments. Alex applies cream to his entire body and lies down on a stretcher as instructed by the lab worker. Just then, Clark notices the bright storm in the tunnel and instructs the lab workers to initiate the time travel procedure right away. The following morning, Ulfhildr awakens in his small abode and discovers that the world has changed. It is revealed that the world, like the past world, is dominated by prehistorians and Olav is the current king. Following this, she goes to the police headquarters and meets Harold, but to her surprise, he doesn't recognize her. In the midst of their conversation, she notices a photograph of a woman who has been wrapped in rubber and murdered. Harold asks for her access pass, and after inspecting it, he informs her that she belongs in the cleaning department. Confused, Ulfhildr walks downstairs to the cleaning department, where she meets Alex, who recognizes her. However, he just leaves a message for her to meet him outside in an hour because the crosses have ears there. Meanwhile, in the secret tunnel, the lab workers discover the hazardous levels for Alex's veins, indicating the danger signal. Back in the alternative world, Alex approaches Ulfhildr and reveals that Robert and her encounter has created a time rift. Ulfhildr asks why he is normal if so, to which he responds that modern technology allows him to access the mind of his replica in the alternate world. During the conversation, Alex appears to be weakening as he coughs up blood. Despite this, he continues to say that the fundamental world is under threat. Before collapsing, he says find him and make a time hole. After this, the lab workers halt the procedure and remove Alex's body. Ulfhildr then encounters a group of prehistorians and persuades them that she is also one of them. She then inquires about Tor, to which a pregnant prehistorian responds that he was beheaded after the Stiklestad demonstration. During their conversation, she notices money with a picture of Volva on it. Volva is astonished to learn that Volva is the queen of that world. Following this, Ulfhildr proceeds to the palace and begins cursing the queen aloud. Soon after, she is apprehended and chained by the queen's men. After a while, the queen approaches her and claims that she and Robert have opened the door to the many worlds. Ulfhildr then threatens the queen to close all the doors for her. Following this, Ulfhildr and the prehistorians are imprisoned. Volva rushes to the king and tells him everything about Ulfhildr and the time rift. Olav, as king, dismisses it, but Volva informs him that Ulfhildr must die. Inside the prison, Ulfhildr notices Odin and a woman, who inquires about her. As soon as Odin learns about Ulfhildr, she claims that Shaman, who is in the Iron Cave, has cited that Ulfhildr will free all of them from the evil White Christ King. Ulfhildr asks about Shaman, to which Odin responds, Lars Holland. After learning about this, they all devise a plan in which the pregnant girl pretends to be in labor. As a result, the guard unlocks the gate, and soon after, Ulfhildr knocks the guard out, allowing them to flee. Following this, the woman takes Ulfhildr to the Iron Cave, where she meets Lars. However, Lars is unable to recognize her. Ulfhildr tries to remind him of himself from another world, but in vain. She then asks about the way that will take her back to her world. After this, Lars tastes her blood and claims that he sees a girl looking for her mother. She again asks him about the way back to her world, to which he tells her that the killer, who wrapped the woman in rubber, is the key. Later that night, Ulfhildr infiltrates the police headquarters and obtains information about the murder case. She also discovers Robert in one of the CCTV footage and learns that he is the murderer. As a result, she tracks his last known location near the sea. The next morning, Ulfhildr approaches Robert, who appears to be expecting her. She asks what he wants to do, and he says he wants to go back in time to when the first fish crawled onto the land. According to Robert, they can break the never-ending chain of suffering only if they can eradicate the precise moment that mankind was created. Hearing this, she rejects his plan and decides to fight him. As a result, he travels back to the tunnel from the present world where the time rift happened. Upon reaching there, he stabs her in the neck, causing her to suffer terribly. A few moments later, she is reminded of the past, which gives her the strength to pull the stabbed knife from her neck and stab him from behind, killing him. Now, the entire time rift has vanished from the tunnel, and everyone returns back to the present world. Olav and Volva are killed in the same horrific accident. After some time, Lars regains consciousness in the tunnel and rushes to find Ulfhildr. Shortly, he discovers Ulfhildr lying down beside Robert's dead body. He checks her pulse and instantly rushes her to the hospital. Later, the doctor claims that she has lost a lot of blood but that she will eventually recover. During their conversation, Lars notices Ulfhildr walking out of the ward and drinks a Coke, burping loudly. Later, they go to the canteen, where Ulfhildr eats as if she is hungry. She also discusses her time in the alternate world and Alex, a super temporal agency agent. However, she is astounded to learn that Alex has had a stroke, which appears to be quite serious. Following this, Ulfhildr is released from the hospital and eventually recovers completely. Finally, one day, she returns to her work, causing everyone to be happy. She then inquires to Harold about the hospital where Alex is being treated, but Harold claims that Alex is still not fit for visitors. In the next scene, Ulfhildr pays a visit to Tor, who is honing his cooking skills at his home. She asks as to why Volva was in the car with Olaf, to which he responds that Volva was involved in the burial of Magnus. She then goes to the police station to check on the items recovered from Volva's dead body. Soon after, she discovers her locket, which Volva stole when they were children. It is revealed that the locket was given to her by her mother. On the other hand, Clark pays a visit to Alex in the hospital and informs him that Ulfhildr's DNA has been matched on the police database. Elsewhere, Lars, Gregers, and Marie accompany Ingrid to her first pregnancy checkup. According to the doctor, the baby has a 25% match with Lars Holland. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and hit a like to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching.